When it comes to outright thrills, it's hard to come close to the mid-engine V8 lightweight specials from Ferrari. For those a little older than me, it's usually the 360 Challenge Stradale with his ear-piercing soundtrack. The 458 Speciale will always be remembered as the last of the naturally aspirated V8s, and it's damn near perfection in my eyes. And then there's the 488 Pista, favoured by those who value outrageous speed above all else. Now, I wouldn't go as far as calling the 430 Scuderia unloved, but in a democracy, its siblings will come out head and shoulders above. For me though, after driving them all, the Scud is the one I've lusted after the most. I've driven a few of them now, but being a bit greedy, when our friends at Motion 8 got an immaculate example in stock, we thought it couldn't hurt to have another go. So why am I so obsessed with the 430 Scuderia? Well, first let's talk a little bit about this car, and then we'll get into it. As I mentioned, it's for sale at Motion 8 in Leicestershire. They're great guys who've been partners of SCD since 2017 now, but for some reason we've never done a proper video with them until today. So this car has 12,500 miles on it and a really extensive service history, which shows that in the last 7 years it's done 600 miles. And maybe even more controversially than how little it's been driven, it hasn't got a stripe. Now I think I might be Team Stripe, although it does look really cool being so understated. But what do you think? Are you Team Stripe, are you Team No Stripe? Now we've got that debate out of the way, let's do what the Scuderia is made for. It is the lightweight, hardcore version of the F430. And boy does it feel it. That engine is a 4.3 naturally aspirated V8 from the F430, but it has modified pistons, a carbon fibre intake system and some other goodies that raise power from 483 horsepower to 503. And on a road like this, that is far more power than you need. And just listen to it. Response to your right foot is absolutely savage, just instant, like bam. And it revs all the way to 8,500 RPM. Oh, what an engine, I've got goosebumps. I don't care how good the new turbocharged engines are, and they are really good. This is just so special. And this is the standard exhaust. Now at this sort of speed, the valves are closed, you can't really hear a great deal. You can't override them manually, they're always automatic, even in race mode like I'm in now. But above a certain amount of throttle, above 3,000 revs, just bam, all at once the noise comes on, and well, we've got an open stretch in front of us. Shall we try a little first gear? And you'll see those upshifts, just bang, bang. It's a 6-speed single clutch automated manual. But you know what, I kind of prefer it over a double clutch. The standard 430, the shifts are about 150 milliseconds. In the Scud, when you're using above about 50% throttle and you're above 5,000 RPM, those shifts are 60 milliseconds. This is closer to the Ferrari F1 car of the time than it was to the F430 in terms of shift speed. So at low speed, low throttle, you get that lurching that you're used to from a single clutch, but get it wide open. What? This is as close to a sequential racing box as I've ever experienced. Being so stripped out, it has lost some weight over the normal for F430. And also we've got beefier brakes. The ceramics and the discs are up from 380mm to 398. Right, handling. The steering isn't hyper alert like the more modern Ferraris. I actually like that. I think it feels a bit more natural, and it really does move around in your hands a lot. Super direct. Yeah, it just feels that bit more natural, so it's not so nervous. And the F430 was the first Ferrari to have the brilliant Manettino switch on the steering wheel, so obviously that carries over onto this. So you can really quickly decide how brave you're feeling. I've got it in race mode now. I really like CT off, which gives you quite a lot of slip, but it's like a hero mode. It'll save you if you take it a little bit too far, but this is not my car, so we'll back it off to race. And like the more recent Ferraris, you've got a bumpy road mode as well. Rather than it being on the steering wheel, it's down here where you've got to look for it. And unlike the newer Ferraris, when you put them in bumpy road mode, even something like a Pista is really smooth. This, even in bumpy road mode, you know you're in a lightweight hardcore Ferrari. It's still very firm, but it works with UK roads, it's not too firm. Now, another reason you know you're in a lightweight Ferrari, even with the valves closed, just listen to it. I'm sort of having to shout just because of the road noise, and then the valves open and oh my god, the downshifts when the valves are open are amazing. Now the downside of the valves means that sometimes, like when they're closed, you don't get the explosive downshifts like that one. Oh, I remember why this is my favourite. I mean, what else can we say while we're in here? Well, even at the time, the infotainment and the interior styling was pretty dated. But the running gear, everything underneath, all the systems, they still feel spot on today. And it's just as exciting as anything I've ever driven. Honestly, this sparse interior and the lack of refinement just contribute to that laser-focused, single-minded nature of this car. You know, a lot of the new lightweight special editions, they've got massive screens in the middle, buttons all over the place. You can tailor your stitching and make it all plush and comfortable, and that's great. It's great to be able to use cars more of the time. They're a lot more refined than they were back in 2007 as well. But if you just want a car for pure excitement, what more do you need than these carbon fibre door panels, exposed metal floors that are, you can see all the welds, a bucket seat, can't hear yourself think. For me at least, this is what it's all about. So, there you have it. Another drive in another 430 Scuderia hasn't changed my stance. And at a smidge over 180 grand, looks like quite good value next to its siblings too. And that's for a right-hand drive car with just 12,500 miles with 12 services at Ferrari main dealers, and it's part of Ferrari's Platinum programme, which is sort of like the Classic A certification but for more modern models, essentially ensuring the car's left wanting for absolutely nothing in terms of maintenance. For me, there is just something about the Scud. The perfect amount of power, how light it feels, the gearbox that makes you feel like you're driving a racing car, and the rawness that meant I had to shout at the camera for the in-car footage. It's so full on that I was actually thankful to hop in the dull Audi S4 crew car to head home at the end of the day. But on the right road, on the right day, the Scud is about as good as it gets. So a big thank you to Chris and Matt at Motion 8 for letting me have a go. I'm sure my opinion might be a little controversial, so if you think I'm wrong, let us know in the comments which of the lightweight Ferraris you choose and why.